When a group of friends gather at a lakeside cabin, they expect to sit back and enjoy the wonders of nature. Instead, they are faced with the truth of the supernature. Is that a word? Supernatural is. And then we take a look at the story of a young man who, for 1 month, dog sits his best friend's dog. They very quickly form a bond. But are the ties that bind this man and dog together strong enough to reach through to the other side? Today on Dead Rabbit Radio.
Actually, I'm a lot freaked out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. I hope you guys are having a great day too. I hope you guys are having tons of fun doing whatever you're doing. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. So first off, running into Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Everyone get on your feet and give it up for longtime show supporter, Kelly Can't Get Right. Woohoo, yeah, haha, yeah. Woohoo, Kelly's running on in, getting everything wrong, mixing up those puzzles, riding bicycles upside down. She just can't get anything right. Kelly, you're going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. She gave me a super thanks on YouTube the other day. That's a little bit of money, gets you like a banner or something. I don't actually know what it does, but I did appreciate it. I don't know what it does for you guys. I think it highlights a comment or something like that, but I really appreciate it, Kelly. That's why you're going to be our, and she's supported the show for a long time as well. Kelly, that's why you're going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially through the merch store, through the Patreon, or through YouTube Super Chats, I really understand. I honestly really do. I get it. Just help spread the word about Dead Rabbit Radio. That helps out so much. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Now, let's go ahead and get the show on the move. Kelly, I'm going to go ahead and toss you the keys to the Dead Rabbit Dune Buggy. Everyone climb on board this old all-terrain hunk of junk. As Kelly fires up this bad boy, we're leaving behind Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Drive us all the way out to Wisconsin. Ding, ding, ding. Headed all the way up to the winter wasteland known as Wisconsin. Going on out there. Now, what's funny is both of these stories that I'm about to tell you, I didn't plan it this way. I forgot that dogs were in the first story too, but I wanted to tell you this real quick. Something weird's been happening to me here in town. I live up in Hood River, Oregon. Longtime listeners of the show may have realized I have a really bizarre connection with dogs. And not in a good way, right? You're like, not in a good way. Not in a good way. Now, I personally love dogs, but I did a story, man, like, I even hate bringing it up because I hate remembering it, but the one time I had to fight a dog. It was me versus a dog. All I had was a broken boat oar. I'll put that episode in the show notes. You're like, wow, I'm going to listen to that one right now. It's pretty nuts. I saved a man's life by clobbering a dog over the head with a boat oar. We had my studio at one point was haunted by the ghost of a dog. I would see what looked like paw, like the shadow of a paw walking outside my recording studio when I was in my closet. That episode's notable because you actually, like, I'm recording the episode and I freak out. Like, you hear my reaction in that episode. For a while after that, I kept seeing dogs out of the corners of my eye when I was walking. I constantly have my head on a swivel. My head is always on a swivel just because I'm super paranoid, but I kept seeing dogs out of the corners of my eyes. And that lasted for a couple weeks. Eventually went away. What's happened in the past month is I've had dogs come after me. Snarling, ready to attack dogs. The first one caught me slipping at like 5, 6 in the morning. I was walking, and this dog came rushing out of these bushes and snarling, ready to go. And I just started yelling at it, and I don't back down, right? Like I'm advancing towards this dog, and ran away. And that was probably about 2 months ago, maybe. Not super notable, except that it happened again just a couple weeks ago. This one, I was walking through the same neighborhood. It was the exact same block where that one dog. There's a lot of people who visit Hood River, a lot of vacationers. It's a vacation spot. It's a tourist town up here. So a lot of people come up here and they bring their dogs. They're not used to the area. All of a sudden there's this giant man walking through the neighborhood at 5, 6 in the morning. They don't know. They're also dumb because you shouldn't come jumping out of the bushes. I don't care if you're a dog or a bird. You're probably going to punch you, right? If you scare me, I do have that boat horse still. It's strapped to my back at all times. The dog came running after me. But then just a couple weeks ago in that exact same neighborhood, I think it was right before I went to break or right after break started. It's super recent. I was walking in that exact same neighborhood and I had my music on and it was middle of the day, like 3 or 4 or 5, somewhere around there. I'm walking around. I hear a dog barking. And I could tell, dogs bark at me all the time, right? They're always over fences barking at me and stuff like that. And I remember thinking, there's something different about this dog's bark. So I actually turned my music down. It was almost like, I don't remember having that thought, like distinctly thinking that this dog, something's up with this dog. I can't see it. I just hear a dog barking. But something in me told me this was a different type of bark. So I actually turned my music down. And I kept walking because it's the middle of the day. I'm walking on the sidewalk and I get maybe like 10, 15 steps away from where I heard the barking. And I kept kind of looking over my shoulder. And sure enough, this big brown dog, it actually like looked very well cared for. It had like fluffy hair. It would have been an adorable dog, except for the fact that it came rushing out of the bushes and was headed straight towards me. And I turned around and the dog stops, but it's still barking. And I again turn and I'm standing there because I'm not going to give it any ground. If anything, I'm going to advance on it. The dog doesn't go away. And all of a sudden, the dog's owner comes running around the bushes. He comes running around the bushes. And now I think the dog's a little more aggravated because his owner's there and he feels like he has to protect the owner. And the owner told me, he's like, oh my God. The dog, he goes, I watched the dog jump the fence to get to you. He was out in the backyard with his dog, and it actually was so aggravated, it got a running start and leapt over the fence, the backyard fence, and came after me. I was doing nothing to this dog at all. So I don't know what it is with these dogs wanting to attack me. I understand when I'm walking through neighborhood, dogs barking on the other side of the fence. I'm next to their territory. I'm walking down the sidewalk. I get it, but now dogs are actively jumping out of fences to attack me. To the point that I'm adjusting, like, what I have to do in these situations. Like, do I have to start wearing body armor? Right? You see me walking down the street, I'm in one of those giant dog attack suits. It's making dogs want to attack me. They're like, oh, this reminds me of the academy. I'm like, ah. Do I have to start carrying some heavier weapons, right? Usually have a knife or something on me. I would not want to fight a dog with a knife. But it'd be better. It'd be better than not having one. There's other things I would rather have, but they're too much trouble. And a knife. You're like, Jason, what type of episode is this? Are you about to tell us you got in a cage fight with a dog? No, but I am now even more worried. There's something is going on that's making dogs. I think the first dog, a couple, that came around the corner at 5, 6 in the morning, I think that one also might have hopped a fence. I don't know what's going on. I never saw that dog again. Never even saw the brown fluffy dog again, but I have started to adjust my walking. But then I go, now I got to take this street. I have to take this street that I usually walk on. So now I could get attacked by a dog. And because dogs have been acting so weird towards me, I have more so than before. Before they would just haunt me or possibly attempt to murder a man years ago. Now they're coming directly after me physically. Now it's kind of a funny phrase, but it's born out of truth. Now when I see a dog, a good dog, right, a nice dog, I say this thing and people are like, dude, you're just asking for trouble. Quit saying that. You're going to manifest this war. I'll see a dog and I'll say to the dog, I will see he's like in a car. Look, a nice looking dog, right? He's in a car or someone's walking their dog down the street, something like that. I will say to the dog, I go, someday we will meet in the field of battle, but that day is not today. And the dog's just kind of dancing in the back of the seat. Because at some point, I might actually have to fight that dog. That dog that just looks kind of chill. in the back seat of this car. At some point, he may come after me. I don't know which dog is next. I don't know which dog's going to attack me next. You're like, Jason, please don't tell me you're saying that out loud as someone's walking their dog. Well, if they're walking their dog, I wait till they pass. I wait till they're out of earshot. But the dog can still hear me. I say it at the pitch of a dog whistle. I don't know what's going on with dogs. It's weird, though. It's weird. But anyways, these next two stories, the first story barely has dogs in it, but when I was looking over my notes, like, oh, I should tell that story about now dogs are jumping over fences to get to me. Where's this storyline going to go in the Dead Rabbit Pantheon? We're in Wisconsin, I believe. That's where the person who posted this, we'll call her Alice. She didn't give her real name. She didn't give her location. But when I'm looking at other things she posted, I believe the story takes place in Wisconsin. We're going to meet this young woman, call her Alice. She's up at a lakeside cabin with a couple of her friends. There's 4 of them in total. Now, Alice is up there. We know she's a dog lover. She posts a lot about dogs. I believe her own dog was up here, but apparently there were not a ton of dogs in this area. Basically, my hell. There's just dogs everywhere, and they walk humans. But there's enough dogs to make the first part of this event noticeable. Weird way to put it, but just bear with me. So anyways, Alice and her friends are up at this lakeside cabin. It's nighttime. They got a fire outside. They're burning the cabin down. They're like, we're so rich, we can build a new one. Outside of the cabin, they have a fire going. They're all sitting back looking up at the night sky. Beautiful night sky, free of light pollution. You can see the long arms of the Milky Way galaxy stretching out into the infinite universe. Now, let's say we were just sitting there kind of chatting, right? Chatting about things, what we'd done that day, how much fun we were having, all of that. While they were sitting back and looking up at the stars, when all of a sudden, Alice said every single dog within earshot began barking ferociously. And Alice looks at her friends are looking around, and they're like, whoa, buddy, their dogs are like just freaking out. Barking uncontrollably, but you could also hear dogs barking off in the distance as well. Every dog in the area was barking as loud and as angry as they possibly could. And then just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. All dogs are silent. A bizarre event. If it was just your dogs, you figure maybe there's something they'd seen in the darkness. Maybe there's a predator nearby. Maybe there's something delicious like a squirrel, an extra fat squirrel walking around. But it wasn't just their dogs. It was every dog in an earshot, she said. Like, you could hear them off in the distance just barking ferociously. And then they just, at the same time, stopped. But it wasn't just that the dogs fell silent. The world fell silent. The sounds of insects buzzing or chirping, crickets hanging out by the water, fireflies dancing in the moonlight. They all fall silent. Frogs croaking. Nothing. It is dead quiet. And that's when Alice realized the stars were gone. All 4 of the friends saw this. The night sky that they were just moments ago looking up at in wonderment was pitch black. There was no stars. There were no galactic spirals. There was nothing. No noise. No night sky. Illuminated only by the fire that they had created, Alice and her 3 friends struggle to really comprehend what's going on. But within 4 seconds, The sky had returned, nighttime dazzled with a trillion stars. The crickets chirped, the frogs croaked. The natural world had returned. This was posted online by someone going by the name Mama KMJ. Fascinating story, as short as it is. The reason why I wanted to talk about it was this is one of those stories that, I mentioned. She posted this online when someone was asking, what's the most bizarre or unexplained event that you've ever experienced? And stories like this, I think, a lot of times get lost in the shuffle. I say this all the time, but it's always worth repeating. If you have a ghost story, you know who to talk to. Talk to a ghost investigator. Talk to a laundromat if you have to clean your underwear, because it's super spooky. You know who to talk to if you see aliens. You know who to talk to if you see Bigfoot or a cryptid or something like that. There's resources out there for that. But stories like this, who would you talk to? How would this be classified? I think there's a ton of paranormal events that never get reported because the person or people experiencing them don't know who to tell. So when a random thing pops up online saying, hey, what's the weirdest experience you've ever had that you can't explain? Alice typed this up. Seemed like an apt place to put it. And it truly is unexplained. If it was just her, you could chalk it up to all sorts of things. But the fact that you had 4 people, her and 3 others, experience this, heard all of the same or didn't hear all of the same things, heard all the dogs barking, didn't hear any nature sounds, the entire night sky blacking out. It's interesting because we can look at that one of 2 ways, and a couple people responded to this post she made, almost as if there was some sort of large, unidentified flying object blocking their view of the stars. That's possible. Like, she didn't see any ID. She didn't see anything that would point towards a UFO. You think about how massive that would have to be. If you were out sitting by a lake, how huge a vessel must be to block out the entire night sky. It's very interesting, too, that the phenomenon lasted so short, that it went by so quickly. The stars disappeared for 3 to 4 seconds. And before that, you had the dogs barking for just a short time, probably a couple seconds, 20, 30 seconds. She doesn't specify, but it doesn't go on and on and on. And then it returns just as quickly. The dogs obviously were reacting to a change that was coming, whether it was a UFO. And the interesting thing about this is the UFO is the most sanity remaining. That's not a thing. It's the one that would make you go the least insane. If you did believe that this was a UFO that showed up, you can put that into a box. You can talk to alien investigators. You can look at decades and decades of UFO research. It would be a massive vessel, sure. But you would be able to quantify it. Now imagine if you believed that you watched the universe shut off. Like, that's way more insanity-inducing. That at any point, in any given time, you could be sitting there and reality just completely fails. Or it's hitting a hard reboot. Even though the paranormal is stuff that we don't truly understand, we have been able to classify it in certain ways. You experience things that you just cannot classify. It's actually far more terrifying. So what did she see? The best case answer would be a vessel that would be the largest ever constructed on the globe, right? And it didn't come from Earth. One of the largest vessels known to man, able to blot out the sky. Not a densely wooded area. She's on the lakeside. That's a huge. That's part of it. If you were looking up through a canopy of trees, a blimp could obscure your view of the sky. Sitting on the lakeside, you have the horizon in front of you. Maybe not the whole horizon. I'm not saying it's like Lake Michigan or anything like that, but You know what I mean? Even a small lake, it's always opened up around it. You have a big view of the sky and it went black. So imagine that can happen when you're out with your friends. I mean, really, it could happen anywhere. You're driving home late one night and all of a sudden the sky just disappears. And you have to wonder, is the road going to disappear? Is the soil that this road was placed on going to disappear? Am I going to disappear? Those are the questions. If you sat and thought about this, especially if you experienced it for real, if you sat and thought about it, which a lot of people don't. We come across these accounts all the time. People are telling us this stuff for the first time. They go, I've never told anyone this story. It happened 20 years ago. They're typing it out and they go, I don't even like talking about it. Because when I talk about it, it makes my stomach get tied up in knots. Because they're talking about something that is impossible, yet they experienced it. Because you do start to think about these things. If the night sky can disappear, what else can just vanish? Clearly, you and I could. If the universe itself could just be blotted out, then what are we? So such a force. Imagine the type of fear that Alice or her friends will have really for the rest of their lives. The next time they hear dogs throughout the area, whether they're at home or at the lake or at work or wherever, they're just hanging out and then all of a sudden they hear the sounds of dozens of dogs barking violently, angrily. They all start barking at the exact same time. Imagine the fear that they must feel knowing what's coming next. But they don't know what it is. They don't know what happened. They don't know the force that caused it. They don't know how to stop it. Just when they are surrounded by the sounds of dozens and dozens of barking dogs in their neighborhood, they know something unexplained is about to happen. Something more powerful than aliens, more powerful than ghosts, and definitely more powerful than a human. What disappears next time? Kelly can't get right. Let's go ahead and toss you the keys to the world-famous Carpenter Copter. We are leaving behind Wisconsin. Why don't you fly us all the way out to Montana? I got to bring this up. It's funny, I'm trying to keep my episodes shorter. I'm trying to get back down to that 45 minutes. That's a goal this season, because I think that's the sweet spot. Episodes have been too long lately. But I do have to say, I gave you guys totally bad information before my break. I thought Thanksgiving was last week. It's not. So I could have looked at a calendar. I did. I just got it wrong. So what I want to say is this Thursday, November 28th at 11 a.m., we are doing another Dead Rabbit Radio Thanksgiving live stream on YouTube. Come and join us. I got a bunch of stuff to talk about. And I love talking with you guys because it's a live stream. You guys are constantly submitting questions. We're just chatting about it. It's always a ton of fun. I usually do maybe 2 or 3 of these a year. I do an anniversary special, a Thanksgiving special, and a Christmas special live stream. So we'll be doing that again this year, November. Sorry, I gave you guys the wrong date. November 28th, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. On the Dead Rabbit Radio YouTube channel, you can search up Dead Rabbit Radio on YouTube, or there will be a link in the show notes. And what else was I going to say? There's something else about that I wanted to talk about. Live stream. I don't remember. But anyways, I'll figure it out. It's just a bunch of dead air. I'm just sitting there. Oh, I know what I'm going to say. That episode, I'm going to use my good mic. In the years past, the audio quality sucked. But now that I got it all figured out, that'll be Friday's episode. So it's usually about 2 hours long, and if you've listened to them in the past and the audio sucked, I apologize. We've got that fixed. So Friday's episode is actually going to be the live stream if you guys want to listen along. Usually we talk about a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, or more interestingly to you, I love behind-the-scenes stuff because I know it off the top of my head. A lot of times people ask me questions about particular cases or theories that they have and things like that. So it's always a lot of fun. Really enjoy hanging out with you guys. November 28th, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube. Be there and be scared. We're headed out to Montana. Specifically, we're headed out to Bozeman, Montana. We were actually up there recently, virtually, for the Big Sky Paranormal Conference. We're hoping to be back there next year as well. It was a lot of fun. I'd like to do it in person next year, but we'll see how that works out. It's definitely a possibility. But we're headed all the way up to Bozeman, Montana. We're about to meet a young man. Let's go ahead and call him Adam. He didn't give his real name. And Adam has recently been given a task. His buddy, who we'll call Luke says, "Yo, Adam, what's up, man? Hey, I was wondering if I could ask a favor." And Adam's like, "Yeah, sure. What's going on?" "Well, so I'm going to be gone for a month. I'm not going to be around for a month. And I was wondering if you would watch my dog." And Adam thinks about it and he goes, "Yeah, you know what, dude? Your dog is actually pretty dope. Like, I really don't have a dog house. Like, my house isn't perfect for a dog. But whatever. I'll watch your dog for a month. And we'll call the dog Barnabas, or Barney for short." It's not his real name, but that would be a good name for a dog. So Luke brings Barnabas over, and Adam's like, "Oh, dude, yeah, no, a month? I don't know why the friend's gone for a month. It could be a long vacation. It could be a jail stay, for all I know. But whatever the reason, Adam and Barney start hanging out. "Hey, Barney, come here. Climb up in my lap." And Barney's like just sitting there. Jason, that's the worst sounding dog ever. Does that dog have asthma? Needs that dog bone shaped asthma inhaler that I invented last episode. Adam and Barney are playing. They're having a good time. Adam's really feeling like, dude, like I could be a dog person. He's all dressing up as Barney. He's like, "I didn't know I was a furry." He's all rubbing up against him. Adam just goes, "Oh, dogs are pretty cool. I didn't realize how awesome they were. I can throw food at them and they eat it. When I throw food at people, I get charged with assault. I'm gone for a month. Someone has to help me out. I can throw food at him and he eats it. He'll do whatever I say. Like if I say sit or stay or roll over, he does all those things. It's pretty dope. And if you throw food at him while he's rolling over, you get a little show. Dinner and a show." He ends up taking Barney on walks. They're having a good time. "Here, Barney, I'm going to throw this ball. You go catch it." Dog's running over to the ball, picking it up. And then comes back with the ball in its mouth. And Adam's like, "Dope. That was pretty cool. I didn't expect that to happen. I've never had a dog before. I was actually trying to throw this ball in the trash." Barney's all knocking the trash over. Barney's a good dog, and Adam really enjoys his time with Barney, but it's only for a month. Now, I've done some long-term house sitting before. I've sat houses for like 2 weeks. I think that's been the most. They usually have sky-high electric bills after I was gone. They're like, "Why is our electricity so high?" "Well, I'm scared of ghosts, so I leave every light on, just in case there's a ghost in this house." I've done that, and then I've never brought a pet over to my house. But I've house sat people who had pets, and you do get this time and space to hang out with a pet. It's like a rent to own, right? I can't actually have a pet myself because one, my parole officer would flip out. No, just joking. I can't have pets myself because my lifestyle is not pet friendly, right? I'm constantly like reading stuff online, watching a lot of YouTube, or recording a podcast. So I don't have time to like take a dog for a walk. Plus maybe I'll need one so it can help me out in my future dog combat. It'll be on my side. I don't have time to take an animal for a walk. I've had pets in the past. I've had a dog. I've had a couple cats. But cats, you know, they want to like sit on your lap and get petted and stuff. And I got to read. I got to type up notes for my show. I got to talk about spooky stuff. And I understand that I would not be able to give a pet the time and energy and love that it needs. I love them from afar. I see a cat on a couch. I'm over at someone's house. I go, "Oh, that's a cool cat." The cat wants to get petted by me. I'll pet it for a couple minutes, but then, I got, stuff to do. I'm just watching YouTube. They're like, Jason, you moron. Can't you pet a cat while you're watching YouTube? No, because I have to go, wee! Yay, keep going when I'm watching video gamers. I gotta, hurrah for them. I love animals. I just can't have one myself. So I get where Adam's at, right? A month is a long time with a dog, and especially when it's just you and him. And they bond really quickly. Having a great time. Well, eventually the month is over, and this friendship has come to an end. Sure, Adam and Barney will see each other when Adam visits Luke's house and stuff like that. It's not like he'll never see Luke again, but it's not the same. It's like summer camp. Everyone gets together, has a great time. Sure, you can write letters to the people after you leave camp, but it's not the same. The energy is gone. The love remains, but that je ne sais quoi is missing. You guys know what I mean. Month is over. Barney goes back home. A couple months after that, Adam, while fast asleep one night, has a dream. There's a knock on his door. And he opens up the door, and who's there? Barney! Lick! Gives Adam a big lick on his face. Lick! Licks him again. And Adam goes, oh, Barney. Barney, you lovable, lickable mutt, you. Come inside. It's been so long. And Barney and Adam have this wonderful day together, hanging out. Adam, in this dream, he remembers them taking long walks together. Just walking outside, enjoying nature, man and mutt. Best friends till the end. Interestingly, though, not friendship forged through raising the puppy. Again, they'd only really spent a month together. But that didn't matter. Sometimes the best friendships have the shortest spark to them. Adam and Barney are walking around in his dream. They play catch. Adam now knows the rules of the game. I throw the ball, you bring it back. Dog's gagging on the ball. You're like, Jason, that's disgusting. You know what I mean. You know what I mean? They got a big rubber ball in their mouth. He got a big ball in his mouth. Probably too big. But how else is Barney going to get it? You get progressively larger balls. You're like, hey, I watched this, who's that guy who always talks about Bugattis? Tom Alexander. What's that guy's name? Lincoln Ford. Andrew Tate. Yeah, it's an Andrew Tate program to give your dog a better chin. Anyways, the joke's stupid. But anyways, you throw a progressively bigger ball each time. Dog gets an alpha chin. He mews. They're playing catch. They're going for walks. They're having a great time. It's such a beautiful dream that when Adam wakes up, he goes, wow, dude, that was a cool dream. That was really cool. Me and Barney. In fact, that's such a cool dream. I'm going to text Luke and tell him what, I had a dream that your dog came to my house and we were hanging out. Adam texts Luke, tells him about the dream. Luke responds to the text by telling Adam, the same night that Adam had that dream, Barnabas had to be put to sleep. Which I'm sure you guys can see coming a mile away. You're like, Jason's not telling an uplifting story about a dog. He does love dogs, he says that, but he's covered an awful lot of dead ones over the course of this podcast. What I find so interesting, I do find, although dogs are constantly trying to murder me, I find so many parts of them fascinating. The idea that we domesticated them, they were once our enemy, and now they're one of our most loyal servants, right? Wolves were constantly trying to kill people and eat babies and stuff back in caveman times. And now we've completely crushed them and we've remolded them in our image. We've turned great wolves into both pugs and giant Pyrenees killer dogs. I love dogs. I think they're fascinating. I love them on a global scale, like when you think about everything. We did that episode about the St. Bernard conspiracy. I'll put that episode in the show notes. Fascinating. Fascinated by dogs, both on a grand scale and on an individual scale. Although they do want to kill me, I do love dogs, and I love the relationships that dogs can have with humans and that humans can have with dogs. There is often a question over whether or not dogs have souls, or animals in general have souls. I think in an early episode of Dead Rabbit Radio, I said I didn't think they do. That is a opinion that I have changed over the years. Really, because of doing this show. Honestly, we've covered so many stories kind of like this, where dogs are interacting in the afterlife, that I've really had to... I think it was a super early episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I was quite adamant that dogs don't have souls. If I didn't put it on the podcast, I definitely said it multiple times out loud throughout the years, that I didn't think animals had souls, dogs specifically. I've changed that view. Not just because of this story, but because of dozens of stories I've read over the years where dogs are interacting with the world of the living. Fascinating stuff. This was posted online by someone going by the name Hammond. And it really does, it opens up a lot of avenues for questioning. One, obviously, do animals have souls? I think we have to assume that that is true if we assume the story is true. This is a question I've had in the past. How do animals choose, or not just animals, how do spirits choose who to visit? Because Adam had this dream about Barnabas. Luke didn't. You know, Luke, who had the dog, who was his dog, had the dog for much, much longer than a month. We don't know if he raised him from a puppy. We don't know if he got him when he was 1 or 2 years old. But the point is that it was his dog. It was living in his house. Luke didn't have the dream. Adam did. Adam, who, he doesn't really say that he spent a ton of time with Barnabas before this. Why did Barney choose to visit Adam? I think the easy answer is that because it wanted to, right? It loved Adam and wanted to say goodbye. And a lot of times these type of dreams are very therapeutic for the people left behind. They're very therapeutic dreams. To know that your loved one who has passed on is still there in some way, shape, or form. It was very therapeutic. You go, wow, I guess he's still around. And Barnabas loved Adam and wanted to visit him, but I'm trying to think of the way to put this. I don't think you get like a set number of visits. I don't think you get like a punch card when you die and they're like, you can only visit 12 people. But let's be honest, the order of things sometimes matter. Maybe that sounds petty. Imagine you have a good friend who leaves town and then comes back, and out of 12 friends, you're the 12th one they visit. I don't take umbrage to that. I've been in that situation before, and I've actually had people say in the past, hey, I'm visiting you last because I want to spend the most time with you. Like, I got a couple friends together and we did this, then I went out with so-and-so that day, but we got the weekend, bro. Like, well, let's go see a movie, let's hang out, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I've had people say, yeah. I guess really what I'm saying, it would be that's fine. What's worse is if they don't tell you they're in town. I've had that happen to me as well. Friends leave, they come back, they visit all their friends, they leave, and I was like, what? He was in town? And they're like, yeah, dude, it was totally awesome. What, you didn't go to that awesome party? You didn't go to that great party? Maybe it's not the order. Maybe that's the wrong thing. But maybe some people, I think, would be upset by that, right? Imagine that your loved one dies and they visit somebody else first. You're like, Jason, I don't care when the ghost shows up. I just want to see my grandma again. I don't care if I'm the 80th person she appears to. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I just find it so fascinating that he appeared in the dream to Adam. Luke didn't have the dream. I don't think it means that he loved Adam more. It can actually mean a couple different things now that I think about it. One, it could be that Adam's more sensitive to having that dream and remembering that dream. That's something that I often forget. I think everybody has the ability to see spirits and experience the paranormal. Some people are more naturally tuned to it. Just like some people can pick up a guitar and start playing a song and other people have to train to play that same song. Anyone can do it. That's possible. You also got to think it's weird. Barnabas could have known in some way that if he appeared in Adam's dream, Adam would end up telling Luke about it. We've covered, there was a story, the whole time I've been talking, I have a story on the tip of my tongue where it was somebody who died and this person goes, we were not friends. If anything, we were acquaintances. We knew each other in school type of thing. And when she died, she appeared in his dream. And he's like, I barely remembered her from high school. And you go, why did she appear in his dream? Why did she visit him after she died? Because it was one of those things like this. You're in casual conversation a couple months later and they're like, oh, she died. She died on such and such a date. And the guy realized, I'll see if I can find that episode. The guy realized that was the night he had that dream about her. A girl that he had never thought about for years. And you think, I know it sucks, right? A little depressing. I mean, the dead dog already is pretty depressing, but this idea that you can care for people more than they care for you. You can love someone and they don't even know you exist. I know that's a bit of a trope, but most tropes are true. You know, have you ever pined for someone and they don't know you exist? I think we've all been there in one way or the other. Maybe not know you exist, because then that can imply a little bit of stalker behavior, but, you know, definitely unrequited love. Love from afar, that type of thing. And then when you die, would you appear in their dreams before you appeared in your parents' dreams or your siblings' dreams or your best friend's dreams or whatever? Or do you appear in anyone's dreams? There's a lot of interesting factors, right? Because it's obvious not every single person who dies is able to do this. Because then that would just be every dream. You're like, oh man, I don't want to go to sleep. My grandma's going to show up again. She's going to make me eat that spaghetti. She's a ghoul. She's a ghoul from beyond the realm of the damned. Her spaghetti sucks now. Putting in human eyeballs for meatballs. This idea, right, that some ghosts have this ability. Why? Why do they appear to who they appear to and when? Grandma showing up in her daughter's dreams. That's obvious, right? You're like, boring, Grandma. If you're going to transcend the world between life and death, do something exciting. Make some spaghetti with eyeballs instead of meatballs instead. Feed it to my mom. You know, that's kind of a given. A dog showing up to someone who only hung out with him for a month. Think about the impression, too, that Adam must have had on Barnabas. This 1 month was so great that when he died... Because here's the thing. I say it's not like you have a punch card and you only can visit so many people, but this is very rare. While it might be the most common ghost sighting, this is the story I hear the most in person. When people tell me that they've had encounters with the paranormal, with ghosts, they'll tell me a story similar to this. A relative of theirs died, come to them in a dream. Very, very common. Beatrice, longtime listener of the show, longtime supporter of the show, she had a story like this. Very common in the world of the paranormal, which is already quite rare, right? World of paranormal, it's quite rare, but in that ghost stories, that's a very common ghost story. But not everybody does it. Not everyone has this ability to appear in dreams. So why do some do and some don't? Why does this dog have that ability to, but your loved one who's recently passed on has not visited you in a dream? Very interesting. Very interesting story, and I think it's fascinating the amount of the impact we can have on somebody's lives in such a short period of time. That 1 month that Adam and Barnabas spent together meant so much to that dog that when he died, he returned to him. He returned to Adam's house to have one last great day of play. So while it's a depressing story, sure, at the heart of it, because it involves a dog dying, it's actually kind of uplifting in the end. Because imagine that. Let's flip it on its head. You have the ability to be so awesome for 30 days that you could reach through the veil. Like, you could have such a great short relationship that when somebody dies, you're like, Jason, I know you're trying to not make this depressing. But think about that. Like, I think it's very uplifting. Adam had such a great bond with this dog over the course of just 30 days that when that dog died, he broke the rules of the universe. He was able to leave the realm of the dead for a night and spend that time hanging out with his best friend. Just a short period of time. It doesn't need to be a long commitment. It doesn't need to be a commitment. It doesn't need to be this grand epic thing. Just kind words and loving embraces. Probably not that one. If you don't know the person, you're like, I'm going to give you a hug. Dead Rabbit Radio told me to hug you. They're like, what? That sentence makes no sense. Police. Kind words and loving gestures can have such an impact on somebody, or in this case, a dog, that after they die, they want to repay it. They want to still be with you. I think that's beautiful. I think that's absolutely beautiful. The dog dying sucks because, that's sad. But the message that it just takes a short amount of time to truly just forge a bond that'll last through death. I find that beautiful. I find that absolutely beautiful. A 30-day friendship between a man and a dog turned into a bond that not even death could kill. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm glad you listened to it